discussing how sociology emerges as a field of research in European society in post-Renaissance period. Then we are looking at the various perspective and rise and fall of the political and socio-economic system. Then we solve some of the questions of UPSC, and we are looking into the new perspective of sociology, that is sociological imagination. So let us consider some of the facts that will justify the topic of today. What is a sociological imagination? The question emerges in front of the researcher, in which they try to enhance and search about the new phenomena emerging in society. For example, we see recently many protests were going on inside the country of India in terms of Agniveer, in which many people who were appearing for the military examination for entrance of the Indian Defence Academy, they were provided with only 4 years of job tenure. That is why they were having so much of protest. So, sociological imagination is a scope of research in which any sociological researcher puts himself inside the field of researcher and he creates his own mind of imagination. The sphere of imagination rises across the field of study in which he thinks about the events, facts, values, objectivity, and what are the phenomena that are being happened in the society. For example, let us consider the event of juvenile crimes in the society. So, how a student going from family to a school education, then what is the situation that leads him to become a delinquent, why he is becoming a deviant in his behavior. So, due to some of the company which he might be having inside the school, or due to some of the colleagues which he is interacting, they are having such kind of deviant behavior. That is the matter of research for the sociological observation. Any sociological researcher, when looks into any social phenomena, he takes into the event that how they are happening and under what circumstances, what conditionalities of economics and political sphere, or in the technological sphere, or in kind of geographical sphere, what things are happening in the society and what is leading to certain kind of incidents in the society. We are also looking at the various factors. So, one by one we will discuss in all the details. So, Sociological Imagination was a book written by C.W. Mills, an American sociologist. Then he pioneered the term that sociological imagination is a technique through which any sociologist look into various spheres of sociological research. He gave his postulate by providing the awareness of relationship between experience and the wider society. So, it deals with the relationship between what a person or an actor experiences in reference to the wider society as a whole. Whenever an individual comes out of his family, goes into the society, either universities, school, hospitals, railway station, chai places, and the smoking places, whenever he interacts with some other personalities, then what he perceives, what is the nature of his perception. So, there are two factors. One is comprising of his psychological nature, that is cognitive factor. Then other is the social sphere in which he is interacting. So, the three components are there in the sociological imagination. First, an individual or the actor interacts with the someone else in a behavior pattern he is having. So, he generates certain kind of behavior, certain habits into which he acts with the larger social forces. Then second is to identify the system of generated behavior of human beings. How the human beings generate some behavior. Some become a painter, some become a teacher, some of them become an artist. So, there is kind of generation of behavior. And third is the identifying of social forces which is shaping individual behavior. What were the background forces that are shaping the individual behavior? For example, a poet becomes a poet because he knows to write some of the phrases, some lines in a poetic manner, a rhythmic manner goes inside his brain, and therefore he writes to write something, he writes to sing something and becomes a singer, he becomes some musician by writing some of the things. Therefore this thing happened. And next goes for the types of sociological imagination. So we will look into the details that 4 types of sociological imagination are there, that is historical, cultural, structural and critical. So what is historical? That is incidences or events that have been occurred in the past. For example, World War I was happened, and it was happened due to what were the basis on which World War I happened, due to colonialism and imperialism and economic hegemony. These are all terms in the historical factor. Then revolutions were happening. There was French Revolution, Russian Revolution, Industrial Revolution, American Revolution. So many revolutions take place, and those were the historical incidents which led to creation of certain forms of society, certain forms of political governance and certain forms of existence of new societies. Then there is cultural events. For example, in India, new sects and cults emerges due to conflict in the existing Hinduism ideology. So new sects and cults such as the Islamic organization emerges, then this Buddhism and Jainism emerges. It conflict with the existing societal norms. So again, that is a case for sociological imagination. And there is structural coherence, that is social organization which leads to establishment of a new form of rules and orders and norms and regulation. For example, establishment of new institutions of justice. For example, High Court and the Supreme Court of India, which are providing the societal facilities for the societal development due to structural changes. Then there is a critical perspective that is guiding that differences in the existing social structure of marriage, kinship, panchayati raj, religion or any kind of existing structure, how that structure can be changes by creating new structure in order to have some new qualities to be imbibed inside it. So that is a 4th form. So remember this all 4 for means point of view. Then social relations in terms of kinship is changing. What are the social relations? Kinship, marriage alliance and interaction with the neighbors. At the macro level, the international relations is also changing with time and again. As the economic prevails, the political activities prevail, therefore the social relations also changes. So this is the way to imagine the social reality at a higher level to the lower level. What are the incidences that are leading to this kind of changes? And social interactions at chai wala places, we discussed that whenever you are sitting for an aam aadmi, for an individual who is coming out of his home feeling tired, sitting on a tea shop, he is discussing all these factors of inflation, of rising poverty, unemployment, meritocracy, bureaucracy and various challenges in his day-to-day life. That is again a form of interaction which is leading to sociological observer to research on the spheres of his thought, that what are the challenges of a common man or middle class family. Then unemployment, Agniveer protests are happening, that people are fighting for the job and still the government providing military job for 4 years only, that is situation. So that is again sociological imagination. So sociological institution formation such as school, Panchayati Raj system, new Panchayati Raj bodies creation, reservation of women in the Panchayati Raj institution, that is again a form of sociological changes, and therefore sociological observer will look into that in a form of sociological imagination. So he will have to have a mental construct of anything that is being changed in the form of sociological reality. Then what is sociology inside the perspective of imagination? So sociology is emerges to be a sense of quality of mind that one person or an observer or sociological researcher bear in his mind to have the knowledge of sociological events that are happening in the country, a nation, a state, a district, in a family, or with the individual. So quality of mind or perspective that sensitizes you selected aspect of reality specifically to the social forces which shape your behavior and life. That is the sociological imagination. Note it down and make a note copy of everything which is being explained in your class so that you can keep it in your mind. Now try to build a concept of this thing which we are studying, at how it works. So for example, there is a society, okay. Society has social institutions, for example courts, for example school or university or hospital. So these all institutions play a role in connecting people with one person to the another, with some professional relation is there with the doctors and the patient. There is relation between the judges, the lawyers and the clients in terms of seeking justice. So that is obtaining certain thing from the social institution. Institution again plays a major role in terms of traditional institutions such as family. So how family plays a major role? Family guides the person to groom his personality, to breed his basic characters of life, such as what are morals, what are etiquettes, how to behave with the elders, what to speak, what not to speak, what to eat, how to sit, how to talk. These all things are provided by the family. So basic characters. Then religion. At certain instant we visit the temple or mosque or any kind of institution. We have certain discipline code. We took out our slippers outside the temples. We wear something on the head. We offer flowers. We pray something. We feel good. So that is again a part of sociological reality. Then education is there, which is making a huge change in the society. If any class or any deprived section of society getting education of engineering and becomes a scientist, that means a huge change in the entire part of that family, and for that matter the sociological change is occurred with that individual, which leads to the total change from one's life to the life of the society. For example, Dr. Kalam, the best example of education as a change. Then government, what the role government plays in making the legislation, laws and regulation in order to create a holistic framework for the working of the society. There are certain rules creation and there are certain laws as required by the society. For example, Juvenile Justice Act, a legislation which seeks to provide justice to the victims of rape and child abuses and so on and so forth. Again, PC and PNDT Act, preconception prenatal detection test, that has been banned by the government. Then next part comes with the economy, how economy plays a major role. So economy in terms of banking or in terms of trade and commerce or in terms of the money market or share market plays a major role. Whenever we see there are hedging in the market, then the values of share falls simultaneously. Whenever there is change in the repo rate, CRR, SLR, there is change in the inflation, therefore the life of people become easies. So therefore economy plays a major role, and all the activities, primary, secondary and tertiary activities, that plays a huge role in changing the life of people. So the next part goes to emergent institutions such as sports, mass media. Sports, we see that how Tendulkar become a giant player in terms of history of cricket, and he emerges to be the god of the cricket. Entire India places on his shoulder. Then there is Mr. Chopra from Haryana, who became one of the Neeraj Chopra, who became one of the greatest player in the Olympics by winning gold. Then mass media, how the mass media such as social media and television news channels play a huge role in connecting the people with the information and social things whatever happening in the day-to-day life. For example, some incidents is happening, kind of flood is happening in some part of India, then that news is being spread to the other part and people come out to donate to those families who are suffering out of these. Then science and medicine is there, which is again playing a huge role in terms of science and medicine again plays a huge role by providing solution to epidemic and pandemic such as COVID-19. कोरोना पीरियड में हमने देखा कि कैसे लोग परेशान हो रहे थे मेडिसिन के लिए, तो साइंस इमर्जेस टू बी अ सॉल्यूशन ऑफ इमर्जिंग चैलेंजेस इन द डे टू डे लाइफ ऑफ द पीपल. दैट अगेन बिकम्स अ पार्ट ऑफ sociological imagination and sociological research. Then comes to be military. Military plays an important role in providing security to your society and your nation. When you are working in somewhere, for example in Jammu and Kashmir, Andaman Nicobar, Arunachal Pradesh, when you feel secure, then you can work productively, your efficiency of work increases, and therefore such security organization plays a huge role. So there is my friend who is saying namaste, so namaskar to you. You can ask any question from Ghaziabad, okay? You can ask any doubt. So next part is ascribed status and role. Ascribed status and role. What is ascribed status? Whenever someone getting education or he is getting qualitative thing in his personality, he is delivering back to the society, and that leads to the ascribed status. For example, someone become a doctor and he helps so many people around the society, then that status become a more rational and productive status as a part of his function to the larger benefit of society, and therefore he gets a status of Dr. Saab. So in terms of race and ethnicity, it also plays an important role. There is racial supremacy that was being discussed. Then age also plays a role. The elders are always respected. कहते हैं ना कि elders should be respected. Then there is gender role which is played inside the society, that females should be protected. There should be various laws for the gender equality. Then class again comes the important part. We will discuss in detail that how Karl Marx describes different class and class structure. So he describes mainly in haves and have-nots in larger details. Then comes the achieved status. What is achieved status? That is achieved through the personal struggle and development of own talent. So that is occupation. For example, a lawyer or a teacher gets respect due to his occupation. Then there is education. Someone is pursuing PhD from Delhi University or BHU or Patna University. He is getting more respect than other people in the society. Someone is pursuing MPhil or some other education which is higher in level, and some other new technological education such as master in technology, nanotechnology, or egalitarianism in PhD, then he is getting more privilege than the other members of society, and that construct the part of sociological researcher to look into the sociological reality, that what is being changed. Then income level, some families having higher level of income, they are having more productive as compared to the other part of the society. Then comes the grouping in the society. How many groups are there? Primary groups such as family members. For any individual there is family grouping inside his peers, brother and sisters, which deals his day-to-day life, his behavior and his activities. Then there are close friends who help them to pursue sports, to pursue the talent such as music and dancing. Then peers, obviously. Then secondary group is there, which is formed in the schools and churches or temples or any kind of religious places, and corporations is there, which is again a part of the grouping of the social groups. So corporation again play a major role. For example, SEBI, or for example Container Corporation of India and other such corporation, NTPC or any industry is there. So there is professional grouping between the heavily talented meritocratic people who decide what to plan for the betterment of a company or any organization with their roles and their activities. So that play a major role in the sociological researcher, how he understands the concept and how he is getting perceived by the other phenomena happening. So let us look into the next part. So that is questions for UPSC. So the questions occurs that what is patriarchy? Oh, patriarchy is a phenomena of hierarchy in the society, that is dominance of male in the society and following of his instruction. So that is a patriarchal view, that father will say whatever happening in the society, in the family, and grandfather will decide what will happen in the society. Okay. And how it leads to women exploitation. So somehow we see that there are various incidences of exploitation of women in kind of bride burning, dowry burning, and there are various violences in the domestic level. So these all phenomena occur due to the cases and consequences of patriarchy. When there is patriarchal mindset, people think upon male dominance, and that leads to the derogatory remark on the woman, disrespecting women, harassing the women in the family, and they all goes for it. So you can write it in the manner, what are the factors leading to suicide? Again, it was concept of Emile Durkheim who gave the concept of suicide in European society, and he said that there is social phenomena where there is not coherence with the things whatever happening in the society, and that leads to pressure on the individual, such as farmers committing suicide, in which scenario when there is failure of monsoon and too much burden on debt, they are trapped in the cases of so many debt inside their mind, and they are having burden of the life for the economic activity to run their family and groom their life. So they commit suicide. So Emile Durkheim guided 4 kinds of suicide as a part, and they cover as altruistic, fatalistic, egoistic, and the one is I am missing. So there are 4 kinds of suicide which is having due to various incidences of social solidarity and changes what are taking place. So write in this manner. Then what do you understand by sociology and social phenomena? So you know that how to write what is sociology. It is a field of research, and What is difference between objectivity and value neutrality? What is objectivity? In the sociological research, when there are certain factors in which the researcher looks into the subject of a research objectively, making it a kind of stratified form by rationalizing all the things which he needs to know. That is an objectivity. What is a fact? Any social incident that is taking place in day-to-day life, for example an accident, a kind of crime scenario, a kind of celebration of certain winning person in the election, that is a part of social fact. And what is this value neutrality? So whenever social researcher goes to research something or some places or some of the social events, then he tries to realize that what are the things that are being discussed and what are the incidents that are happening. So he takes everything according to his value or keep his value apart. That is again a Weberian concept that Weber quotes in his concept of neutrality of values by Max Weber, where he quotes that the researcher should keep his value apart during the period of research. During period of sociological research, whenever someone is going to research on the caste system, some marriage system is happening there, then he should look into the things whatever being happened. So he should be value neutral. He should keep anything or any biases away from his mind during the period of his research. So write in this manner, then what is difference between functionalism and the interactionism? So functionalism is a stream of sociology in which we learn, or the sociological researcher try to integrate the function of any individual or any sociological event with the larger part of the society. For example, the organism is there. If there is certain organism such as earthworm, then he is digging the ground, he is making the soil productive, then it becomes a functional part of the land. In the same manner, the person who was getting knowledge, he becomes a scientist or he becomes a teacher or he becomes a bureaucrat, then what are the functions he played for the development of the society as a whole? That is functionalist perspective. Then next part is interactionism. So interactionism given by the interactionist school of thought, in which there is again various kind of relation due to interaction. It can be psychological or it can be in terms of symbolic interaction. So we say hi to anybody, we say salute to the patriots or the martyrs of war. So that is a kind of gesture of respecting something, respecting somebody. So respect in terms of symbols is a symbolic interaction. Interactionist plays a major role in the sociology, as they think that every work, activity, behavior of individual as a part of society is in terms of interaction to the society. In the same way, whenever an incident is being happened, for example, a railway accident is there, some fire is broken out, then if someone is deaf, someone is blind, then through symbolic interaction, that jump out of train, you interact with another person and he gets save his life. So this is a phenomena of interactions, and sociology discuss on the individual's life, on the actor's part, that how he interacts to the larger part of social whole and social reality. So in this way you can write the answers very clearly. And next part goes to sociological theory, and what are the concepts of theory and what are the perspective. Let us see one by one. So there are two streams mostly, that is microsociology and microsociology. Macro deals with the larger part of the society as a whole, as a global village. We see as a concept of global village was emerged. So what is global village? Interaction of the various countries on a single platform in terms of Google or Facebook or other apps kind of thing. That is concept of global village, and development of economic activities, political activities, social activities and institutional activities. Then next part, relation between individual and society, shows in the macroeconomic perspective and macro social level. Then in the structuralism there is reality in which we learn that how society is grooming individual. When a boy goes to the school, he learns many kind of traits during his interaction with his friends and his teacher, and that is the part of societal shaping of individual. Next is the nature of sociology is also governed by the relationship between individual and the society. And next goes with the positivism. And what is this? Positivism codes for the reality, that is, as Durkheim said, that social fact are living thing which individual or a society passes through. So that again makes a larger reality interacts with the other part of the society. Then it is a way of social influence and the behavior of the individual, how a person interacts with the other members of the society, that is again a part of it. And it also comprises of perspective. So perspective we discuss with the various perspectives such as Marxism in the conflict perspective. There is Chicago School of Thought who believes that various things are happening in the society due to conflicts occurring in various sections, in class struggle and caste restriction. Then there is functionalism, that what role something plays in happening of certain events, how something is functional, how technology is functional, how laws are being functional. The next part goes with the micro study of the sociology, in which we see relation between individual and society. So social actions occur, which is quoted by Max Weber, that individual interacts in terms of goal rational or value rational in terms of rationality. So action is rational or not rational, that depends upon the individual whenever he is going to do something. So individual creates society as they are willing to do. For example, we see modern software parks are there. Software parks having their separate software societies, their interaction with the same kind of group of people, they are equally talented and equally meritocratic. So therefore, individual creates the social reality as a whole. Next is the nature of sociology. It is governed by the acts which are being done through the social action. Next is the phenomenology, which studies how various phenomena in the social sphere plays a huge role in terms of laws, in framing certain rules and regulation, in creation of certain sphere structure. So we discuss in phenomenology, study of various phenomena. It was given by Schultz in 1930s, and it is quoted with Douglas and Atkinson. They are prominent thinkers of this school of sociology. Social reality being constructed in the mind of social actors, and in which individual interprets certain kind of actions according to his behavior with the other actors of society. Now, other perspective goes for symbolic interaction, which is given by G.H. Mead and Goffman, in which Mead discusses the factors which are having inside his brain individual, that is I, me and myself. That concept given by G.H. Mead in terms of I, me and myself. When individual interacts with the society, he considers these three things of his internal personality to the larger part of social interactions. Then there is ethnomethodology, provided by Harold Garfinkel. Ethno methodology provided a study of various methods by terms of reaching the situation through the researcher by knowing the things whatever happening in the action of the individual, and it studies the action in various ways. Therefore, it studied people as use of common sense understanding to get through everyday life. It also uses the common sense of the individual through which he interacts with the larger part of society or inside his family or with the institutions. So I hope that this lecture remains very useful for your today's part of learning, and this has become a epitome for your knowledge. So make notes, keep read, revise and repeat for your mains examination. So I believe you are getting all the notes at time and having your revision quite on time. So be successful, I hope for it. So Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.